Nature here holds a special place in the hearts of Utahns. Generations of plants, animals, and people have thrived here. Their families have all grown here, and stories survive here because of the nurturing beauty of the Wasatch Mountains. But abundance like this, in resources, in stories, won't last long if preservation of the Wasatch isn't our shared goal.
I'm Bill Gray.
I'm Sylvia Gray.
And been associated with Save Our Canyons for, maybe 30 years now. When we came to the States, we actually came for 1 year, maybe 2, in 1964. And we fell in love with the Sierras and the deserts and ended up, we're not going further east than the Rocky Mountains. And so Salt Lake is pretty good. It's got
ideal from that point of view.
Has the deserts and the mountains.
It's varied and it's beautiful. It gives one a sense of place. I mean, there are good things about cities, but at times it gets just too much, and to be able to have this wonderful, incredible area so close to the city is a joy that we treasure greatly.
I was a biology professor, but without any training at all in botany or zoology, because I was a biochemist. I've always loved the wildflowers, so you'd hike and say, when I retire, I'll get to find out what that is. It was a slog to learn them, and it took me, year after year I would forget them in the winter and have to learn them every year. Now they're second nature almost.
A phrase Bill has used, which I just love, he said, "It's so nice seeing old friends again."
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And especially as you hike these trails, going up okay, around this bend we'll come to those orchids, or yes, down the slope here is a little shrub that occurs nowhere else in the Wasatch. So there's all this kind of thing. You relate in a different way, that you feel part of it because, as Sylvia says, they're old friends.
When I took school kids up to Catherine Pass, we developed this over the years, and we would have the kids sit and just be quiet for a minute. Nobody's talking, just sitting and listening. And that was kind of a long time for 10-year-olds. But over the course of the year they were with us, we gradually lengthened it to 5 minutes. And so we would have, believe it or not, 10-year-olds sitting, sort of separated a little bit, just on their own, for 5 minutes being quiet. Having people experience the Wasatch is the key, because one has to care about a place before one is willing to work to keep it. That there has to be that kind of clincher where people realize, this place is important to me and to my kids and future generations.
It's really what is good for the people themselves. And I think if they lose track of caring for places like this, which are so close and so easy to get to, it changes your whole perspective and relation to the world. We look at it through the eyes of everything that's living here, not just us, not just that's a big tree, but it's an actual living tree. And very much that we are part of this. It's not that there is us enjoying that. We are part of it. And so that's a major part of my leading wildflower walks, is to just get people out and appreciate what there is. And those people are going to be the ones who have to protect it. Happy to support people who, like Save Our Canyons, who come in there and batter away at the forces trying to pull it down, trying to downgrade it. The Wasatch is the plants as well as the rocks, and you can't have one without the other.
Don't want one
Don't
without
want
the other.
one without the other, yeah.
You live here, you grow here. You've weathered many storms: spring, summer, autumn, winter. You take care of your families much like the Wasatch takes care of you. Our homes throughout these canyons and across this valley provide us with shelter and comfort, and the Wasatch, well, it provides us with the rest. You feel it in the fresh air you breathe, the rejuvenating water you drink, and the sturdy ground you stand on, thanklessly giving us the lifeblood we need for the unknown challenges ahead.
I'm Emanuel, and I'm a data analytics consultant. I've been living here in Salt Lake City for more than 10 years now.
And I'm Allison. I work for a local university in student affairs. And this is our son, Milo, and our other son, Simon.
I moved here from Guatemala. I lived there for most of my life. I was born and raised in Guatemala, and in a small town in the mountains as well. So like coming here to Salt Lake City, it was just so great because I was going to be in the mountains as well. We got into like really long hikes. We learned from each other like a lot from the hikes. The challenges we had in hiking were kind of like the good to us to like grow as a couple, and it was such a great experience.
We explored almost every weekend, and that's really what we did. That was a part of our weekly routine. It was a huge part of our relationship.
As parents now, we value natural and open spaces. I think they're so vital for the kids, for like so they can learn skills, and they also are able to get a sense of what they are, like who they are.
The vista is what adults often get really focused on, and what's fascinating about children is they love the micro, tiny, small aspect of being out in nature, right? They want to find the perfect stick, the perfect rock, the coolest bug, and that's really what kids look for. It's less about how many miles you can hike and more about what do you discover along the way.
I think that we give for granted that this place exists, that we can access it, and for other places that are experimenting development at a quick rate, if you could visit one of those places, you can realize how precious this place is. I think that it will be important to like preserve this place for the future, and I think that there are many figures. I think the National Conservation and Recreation Area it's one of them, and I think that guarantees like not only conservation but also recreation, and a recreation that is sustainable and is like friendly to the needs of wildlife, also the needs for water, and that's very important. Like we have to consider that we are in the West. The West is one of the places that's going to be greatly impacted, if it's not greatly impacted right now for climate change. And if we don't like put that need or that aspect, if we don't value that very highly, then we're going to be in big trouble.
You always think about how do I instill that in my children, and how do I teach them? And the only way to teach them is to take them into the Wasatch and to let them have that enjoyment and excitement for being out and exploring. And so that's one thing that we really value as a family, and so it's important for us to teach them that, you know, this is going to be theirs.
You realize that it's going to be a different world, and conservation just becomes more important now.
You're an adventurer, the kind that likes to get lost and get dirty. Previous generations protected the wilderness to afford you these opportunities. You witness the sunrise over the Wasatch every morning, and you see the sun fall opposite the valley, giving the foothills their orange glow every evening. Alpenglow sets ablaze what's important. Freedom is wild. Your free spirit and the beauty of the Wasatch are one in the same.
Hello, my name is Elliot Frei. I'm born and raised in Salt Lake. Been here ever since.
I'm Weiler, also born and raised in Salt Lake City. I remember skiing up at Brighton as a young, probably 10-year-old, and my dad would take me up the Great Western Lift, and I remember it being a super icy day, and I said, "Dad, I don't want to do this anymore." And I sat down and I said, "I can't go down. It was too scary, it was too steep." And he said, "Well, I can't bring the minivan up here to get you, so you have to ski down." And I remember skiing down after that, and I think that was one of the moments that instilled in me that we can do hard things in the mountains.
Normally, people in Salt Lake go snowboarding or skiing. I personally can't do that, so I kind of found snowshoeing at a whim, and I've made it my own. I jump off cliffs and stuff like that. It's kind of my experience in the Wasatch that makes me feel at home. As a little kid, I went up Mill Creek Canyon in a little stroller behind my parents, biking or even on the backpack. They ingrained to me these mountains, and I'm very thankful that they did, because that's where I find my sanity and my peace is up here. I personally have a recovery story from my childhood, and I used to, come to these Wasatch Mountains and basically use that as my therapy, my physical therapy. I hiked, I ran, I did things that normally, rather than being on the road, I wanted to be up in the mountains. It's kind of a tough thing for me to see the change, but everything is change in this world, so we gotta embrace it, but we gotta fight for what's right. It's one little mountain range to the whole world, but it's my home, and I really cherish it.
I see the excitement that comes in bringing younger people out to volunteer, because you can see the excitement in them, and it's just passing down that torch to the next generation who's going to be leaders. Just like with anything, we teach the kids how to read, how to write, because they're going to be the ones teaching other people how to read and how to write. And that's the same thing with preservation and protecting our canyons and our wild spaces, is making sure that they have the tools and that they've been educated on how to take care of it, so they can continue on that legacy that we've been blessed to be stewards of ourselves. Save Our Canyons website is a great resource to get information about, why are we needing to protect these areas, and then they list a great, resource for things that you can do, again, to vote, to get out and recreate responsibly. I think that's probably the biggest thing, is just taking care while you're out here. It's okay to be here, but just do it responsibly. Having a vision for something is huge, and I hope that what Save Our Canyons is doing now is also a vision for the next generation, that they can look back on the work that we've done here and also hopefully say thank you.
It's important to just stand by a cause that you really believe in.
Morning, noon, and night. Life sure is good near the Wasatch. If you cherish the canyon air you breathe, the rivers and lakes you get your water from, and the shared experiences with the community of life that surrounds you, lend your voice to defend them. It took 1.4 billion years to create this iconic landscape. Now is our time to leave a legacy that protects the work of the ages. We are Save Our Canyons. Join us. Be a voice for the Wasatch so it can stay wild and free. Visit saveourcanyons.org for more information.